Okay, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome everyone. Thank you for taking the time to attend today's presentation. My name is Carlos Nieves, and I'm a Senior Manager of Product Marketing at DataCore Software, and also your speaker for today's webinar, Harnessing the Power of Diverse Storage Through Virtualization. As for our format today, participants will be in listen-only mode, and we'll be answering questions at the end of the presentation. Now, we encourage you to use the GoToWebinar panel to enter all your questions. This presentation will last about 25 minutes, and it will also include a poll question during the presentation, as well as a really short survey at the end. So please answer those questions and fill out the surveys, because we really appreciate your feedback, and it is very important to us. Finally, there will be a prize drawing for an iPad mini, so the drawing will be conducted offline after the conclusion of the webinar. And the prize winner will be contacted separately to claim the prize. And I'm getting one second here, I'm getting a Windows message. Okay, sorry about that. So with that, let's get started with the presentation. Okay, to kick off this webinar, I'd like to spend a minute and think about your data center and how it has changed in the past couple of years. And I'm talking about like things ranging from like needing support for more users to like introducing virtualization technologies or even adding new storage devices and services to address your business requirements. Now, it's no secret that compute has been virtualized on the server, paving the way for desktop virtualization. And now we're seeing the network virtualized. However, the industry has fallen painfully behind the most important part of the infrastructure, and that is storage. If you take a look at it, storage performance and cost are the primary factors impacting the majority of IT projects today. And guess what? Most of the customers that I talk to out there have a very diverse storage environment. And this not only includes storage devices from different manufacturers, but also different hardware models from the same manufacturer. And all these customers seem to be dealing with the fact that heterogeneous storage environments are expensive, they're inefficient, and they're also painful to manage. Now, one major factor driving change here is the explosive growth of the data demand. So with zettabytes of data under management today and growing like at about 60% annually, the future of technology lies in the way we learn to manage, access, and figure out how to protect our data. So what this means is that virtualizing your storage architecture is no longer really a niche, but it's a must-have and a competitive advantage. So let's talk a little bit more about that. If you take a look at some of the industry reports out there, you will find that a lot of IT organizations are only using about 1/3 of their storage capacity, and this means that they're wasting electricity and a lot of precious floor space. Also, this shows that the leaders of the storage industry have not kept pace with it. And if you take a look at the slide here, you'll see that about 60–65% of data storage devices are sitting empty, in order to order provision for performance or to keep up with unpredictable data production. And this also shows that today's leading storage vendors are happy to sell you antiquated storage systems at a price premium. And this definitely is something that's unnecessary. Okay, according to ESG research, about 50% of the companies with more than 100 production servers report that they expect to grow storage between 30 to 50% annually. And with the explosion of unstructured data and instrumented systems driving a massive wave of content. As server virtualization consolidation ratios of 80% and greater are demanding more from archaic storage architectures. And business needs are even pushing the virtualization of those tier 1 applications, leaving the majority of those IT projects storage bound. Additionally, the volume and diversity of the workloads is really busting out in ways demanding special treatment, to which manufacturers respond with very specialized or purpose-built equipment. But yet, much of the new gear comes in rather close packaging, and this makes it very difficult to integrate with other equipment you or even your clients have in place. And that's because they claim to have an appliance for one thing, and also they claim to have a different appliance for another thing, or for all the different scenarios. Also, on the other end of the equation, you have the ones that are so-called converged or unified storage systems. And those are the ones that are claimed to be all-inclusive packages that basically claim that one size fits all. But it's not just the flood of data, but the performance demands we put on the data that are changing. And with the rise of web and e-commerce, high-performance storage has become critical in ensuring that transactions are processed efficiently and effectively, and storage bottlenecks limit these applications. So as if this weren't enough challenges already to deal with, you also have to deal with new releases from like storage hardware vendors, which magnify the problem by adding more incompatible devices. You also have to deal with fragmented disk farms and isolated disk arrays, and you have to deal with those devices that even not too long ago were considered like super fast and reliable, but now they're just barely good enough to do the job. So it's time to rethink and design a long-term storage strategy that will help you anticipate change. You know, a strategy that's going to allow you to take advantage of your current assets without the rip and replace pain that has previously characterized the equipment refresh cycles and all those modernization efforts. You need a strategy that's going to allow you to benefit from technology innovations. And that's what we can offer to you. You know, we can help you accomplish all those challenges by extending the notion of virtualization to maximize the value from diverse storage, and in the process, giving you the choices and the flexibility you need that you never had before. So if you take a look at the industry, desktop and server virtualization projects have put like a lot of pressure on storage infrastructures, and in most cases, they have left customers with no other choice but to spend like money on very expensive solutions. And this is why virtualizing your storage infrastructure is no longer an edge, it's a necessity. Like in today's IT environment, you must have a storage virtualization strategy in order to support the demands of that modern enterprise. And the full value of storage virtualization can only be realized by an independent software-only solution, such as the one we offer you here at DataCore. Like with our storage virtualization software, you can actually use one uniform set of advanced features, as seen here on this slide, spanning across all the popular storage devices, and that goes from legacy arrays to the latest devices out there, and it's all under centralized management, like that's integrated all the way from the ground up. In this way, you could provide like many services, you know, such as auto tiering, like theme provisioning, high-speed caching, replication failover across all your storage devices. And the way it works is by decoupling all enterprise-level storage services from the hardware. So if you take a look at our software, our intelligent layer just simply slips in between like the application host and the storage devices, and it cushions them from that chaos that's happening underneath, all those changes that are happening. And what this does is like it allows you to rotate the gear in and out when its useful life expires. And I mean, if you take a step back, I mean, and think this, like this is not only good for you, but also for all those companies or vendors that are trying to sell you like a new gear, and even for those like just your partners, your trusted solution advisors that are trying to help you modernize your infrastructure and keeping it current. So now let me show you what a typical configuration looks like from an architectural perspective. So at the top of the slide, you can see that you have the desktops that are the ones that are presented to your end users to access your applications. Now, right below that, you have a combination of physical and virtualized servers that are hosting your business-critical applications, and this could range from, you know, database applications, mail applications, and that includes like SQL Server, Oracle, Exchange, and many others. Then at the bottom, you have your storage virtualization layer, and this is where like DataCore comes in. If you take a look at the red boxes there, the DataCore nodes basically are servers that are represented by the two red blocks in the middle, and they reside between the application servers and the storage devices. Now, as part of the architecture, different types of storage devices, such as flash, SSDs, SAS or SATA devices, they can be classified into multiple tiers and combined to create like a storage pool. Now, all these diverse storage devices are managed by the DataCore virtualization software. Now, if you concentrate right in the middle here, you notice that the two-layer DataCore nodes they represent a mirror configuration, which we're going to cover later on in more details. And then finally, on the right-hand side of the slide, you notice that we have a third DataCore node there, and this is the one that's going to be used as part of a disaster recovery site as part of your business continuity strategy. Now, what this configuration does for you is that it helps you deliver a fast, flexible, redundant system that's going to help you maximize your application performance and also the availability so you can maintain your business operations. Okay, so let me give you an example, and this is based on a case study that you can find on our website. But a good example of early adopters using storage virtualization in their software-defined data centers have been the hosting companies. They're the ones that operate on the smallest margin and under constant pressure to trim their costs, and they're the ones that fulfill very tough performance expectations, and they rapidly assimilate like new technologies as part of their expansion strategy. And that's really because, hosting companies, they have the most competitive scenarios from an IT perspective because, their customers or, somebody's always thinking that they can switch out to another one because they're providing like either a little bit better service or lower cost. So overall here, like hosting companies are always scrutinizing their operations. And Host.net is one of those premier multinational providers of managed services and have increasingly been expanding their footprint across the United States and Europe. Host.net here, you can see they have been running their environment using DataCore software now like for almost 3 years, and they have been doing this without having any interruptions in their operations. And that includes, having a mix of different types of storage from EMC, Dell, and even other lesser-known hardware. And as requirements like dictated, they continue to add more types of storage devices and different types of it. But their storage environment has really grown and evolved multiple times over the past several years, and we really help them institute those changes without incurring an outage. So what this means is that they never had a subscriber experience an outage as a result of anything they did behind the scenes, despite really having moved through generations of storage equipment, having swapped like vendors and moving new vendors in there, and done their normal upgrades and all the configuration changes and expansion that really took them from those early days all the way to where they are today. Now, that is a very compelling result in terms of when we talk about 5 nines of availability, and this makes it very clear what we're talking about, which is like 0 downtime through all that process. Now, interestingly enough, you would think they had to make some trade-offs and pay some kind of performance penalty with their implementation, but you really will be surprised. Host.net actually measured the native connection and speed they got with their hardware connected directly to their system, to the application servers, and to the other hosting platforms. And by virtualizing their storage, their application performance increased by 300% over the speed achievable using the hardware directly. Now, like I said, you may be surprised, but this injection of capability into your system actually speeds up your environment rather than slowing it down. And more importantly, the acquisition and decision-making has resulted in them being fully device independent from a storage standpoint. At any instant, they can choose who they're going to bring into their environment and, have the ability to negotiate or get the best deal possible, making them completely agile in terms of upgrades, expansions, etc. Now, you can actually watch a video case study on our website or even download the case study for reference. And before we continue with the presentation, now it's time to do a quick poll question. So please use your mouse or input device to answer the question. And just give me 1 second here. Okay, and the question says the following. What brands of storage devices do you manage as part of your IT infrastructure? Check all that apply. And I'll give you about 20 seconds. Okay, time's up for answering that question. Okay, Thank you for answering that. And now let's continue with the presentation by highlighting the 4 primary benefits of using DataCore storage virtualization software. Okay, the first benefit is getting a better return on investment from your current storage assets by extending their life cycle and maximizing utilization. The second one, as you can see here, is obtaining faster application performance by overcoming those I/O bottlenecks through our unique high-speed caching and auto-tiering capabilities. And we're going to talk a little bit more about each one of these. The third benefit is providing continuous operations through a highly tunable or available system that offers real-time I/O replication and non-disruptive failover. And finally, we also help you give you a competitive edge for your business by helping you integrate the latest technologies into your infrastructure very rapidly. So like I mentioned, let's cover each one of these topics in more details. Okay, so let's talk about better ROI. So I mentioned better ROI was the primary benefit. Well, like storage virtualization protects your infrastructure investment by repurposing aging storage systems and by fully utilizing all of your storage assets. And most of our customers really fall into one of 2 situations. Either they have disparate storage systems and they're frustrated because these are incompatible, or 2, they feel locked into a single storage manufacturer and they're still frustrated with all the rising support costs, the forklift upgrades, and even equipment being end of life. And this is where we come in. DataCore really helps you solve both of these problems. Like if you're locked into one vendor, virtualization will allow you to easily break out. And if you have a variety of devices, we're going to help you make them work together by combining them into a storage pool and creating those virtual disks that will optimize the efficiency of your resources. Now, additionally, DataCore offers the ability to start helping you think about or consider lower cost storage platforms could be white boxes or it could be JBoss. And many of our customers start using these for archiving, and then they start to realize that these systems are just running as fast as their name brand storage. Now, you got to be careful with this because I'm not telling you that you should stop buying name brand storage. That's exactly why we're hardware agnostic, but we just open or help you open that door for consideration, and many customers think that this makes sense. Now, one of the technologies that we have pioneered to accelerate application performance is the concept of intelligence storage tiering, and this happens across heterogeneous devices, right? All those different types of devices that you have in your infrastructure. Now, with the explosive data demand, the high cost of storage devices, and even the lack of human power to manage the data, auto-tiering is a must-have technology for any business. And the key thing here is that after years of advances in storage hardware, most environments have a variety of data storage devices that have different performance and cost characteristics. Ideally, you can minimize the amount of data that needs to reside on expensive high-performance systems to avoid excess cost. And the common approach to this is just to simply move that data from your Tier 1 applications to your highest performance systems, and those could be solid-state drives, it could be flash cards, and the data that you don't have too much demand for applications that don't require high priority, those will be moved to a more cost-effective or larger capacity devices. And here's how our auto-tiering technology works. Basically, it dynamically matches the workload to the storage performance and optimizes your storage environment at the block level, not at the application level. And this allows us to achieve that efficiency that will be otherwise really impossible. Now, let me help illustrate this by taking a look at this slide. Let's say here, by taking a look at this picture, that you have a pool consisting of multiple tiers. So in this case, you have, you're using, let's say, bulk storage as Tier 2, you're using fast disk as Tier 1, and either SSDs or flash cards as Tier 0. As part of its functionality, the DataCore software organizes all the available disks into a virtual storage pool, and then it classifies, the top tier, let's say the SSD or flash cards in that top tier, and then assigns those lower, higher density drives to lower tiers based on performance characteristics that you can set yourself as the administrator. So the software then dynamically directs those workloads to the most appropriate class of storage device, and in this case, going to favor the Tier 0 for high priority requests that need the fastest access, but it also is going to send those lower priority requests to the other two storage tiers. And what that does is that helps you strike a balance between the high speed of the flash cards, or the SSDs in this case, and the economies of larger capacity hard disks. Now, if you have to juggle all these tiers by hand, you never get very far. So the main point here is that overall, auto tiering at the block level helps you avoid that unnecessary spending on high-end storage systems, and at the same time, it's going to help you maximize the performance for those critical applications. Okay, another technology that helps in accelerating app performance is our high-speed caching. Now, I know, caching certainly really doesn't sound like, sexy or the most exciting technology in the world, but I really assure you this is the most elegant implementation of decades-old technology that you'll ever see or experience. And this is because our storage virtualization software is built on a set of patented high-performance data caching algorithms that have been developed throughout the years, by high-level mathematicians and even PhDs. Now, what technology does is, it allows you to use regular old memory to create these mega caches that are going to anticipate read writes before they even come in, and this just helps prevent every request from hitting a spinning disk. And the proof is really supported by third-party lab results, which show about a 3 to 5x increase in performance across a wide variety of applications, including database and mail applications, as you can see in the chart on the screen. Now, it's interesting because I talked to a prospect the other day, and he was doing a proof of concept, and he was evaluating our software to assist him along with a flash storage solution that he was considering. And the reason why he chose us was because of the auto tiering technology that we just talked about, but he also wanted to use flash to help him with some of the I/O bottlenecks that were slowing down one of his applications. Now, during that proof of concept, one of our engineers actually told the customer to try without the flash, and he did. And to his surprise, the customer was shocked that when he found out that he didn't even need the flash because the DataCore caching algorithm was able to get him the performance he needed on his existing hardware. Now, I guess I suppose you never think that a simple thing like caching will solve tier 1 application performance issues, but that's the beauty of our technology. It really supercharges your existing storage infrastructure. Okay, earlier I mentioned our technology can help prevent your storage, from taking down your applications and providing the continuous availability you need for your business. So let's talk a little bit about that. Every major storage vendor, they have a story around replication and high availability, but the reality is that almost every one of those solutions is really expensive and a bit kludgy. Now, if I were you, or from the experience and from what I hear from customers, manual intervention is really scary for any type of high availability solution because, in my case, I just never want to be in the situation where a storage system goes down and I have to be the one that has to push the button to fill everything over to another, hopefully replicated system. And, at the same time, too many questions will pop on my head, what will happen to the data? Is data going to get corrupted? How will I fill back? Or what if I can fix, the system fast so I don't have to, go through that risk? So, my point here being, it gives you second thoughts. So the HA technology built into the DataCore software works the way you actually want high availability to work. There's no single point of failure. There's no manual intervention, no performance impact, and can even be used for planned downtime. So, for example, if the system goes down, the other system is already online and serving up the data, and as soon as the system comes back online, the change data is just automatically replicated back to the other system to get it up to speed. So by looking at this slide here, let me tell you how this technology actually works, and I'm going to do the best to do a representation of it. So our software is going to allow you to configure redundant storage pools by synchronously mirroring between the DataCore nodes at different locations, and these are represented by the red boxes in Building 1 and Building 2. And basically, the virtual disk represented by the F drive is just a logical representation of dual-ported drive, except that two independent copies are being updated in real time at each location. Also, as a best practice, we recommend that the two storage copies reside in two separate physical locations, such as in Building 1 and Building 2, and being up to 100 kilometers apart. Now, to better load balance these configurations, the traffic is evenly spread between the two pools, and you're equally distributing, the preferred path from those host servers across that active SAN. So in other words, each node is generally set up to serve as a primary resource for half of the capacity. Okay, so now let's say one of those storage pools needs to be taken out of service, right, or suffers some type of failure. So in this specific scenario, the application servers, they're going to sense that they cannot reach the disk through that preferred path, and they're going to automatically redirect the applications to the alternate path without any type of disruption. Now that request that we're talking about will be received by that redundant node using the mirror copy. And when the service is completed on the left node in building 1, any changes that occur while it was down are sent over by the node on building 2. And then after both nodes are back in sync, the application servers return to their preferred paths. So that same procedure is repeated, at the other side if necessary, never really interrupting your users or your business. Additionally, the software also offers a synchronous remote application or replication to address, requirements for secondary copies to be housed beyond the reach of synchronous mirroring in this case, and that covers just, distant disaster recovery sites or even satellite office. So this is typically part of, of a business continuity strategy. And finally, we mentioned how DataCore provides you a platform that puts you in a position to take full advantage of future advancements in storage hardware. So once virtualized, you're really free to integrate new and compelling hardware technologies as new things are developed. And what this does is it just liberates you from hardware supplier locking and dependence on hardware compatibility, because you really don't know what's coming next, but you know that new storage innovations are rapidly coming to market. And a long-term strategy for data storage is to be open to accommodate these new technologies. So by now, I'm hoping you have a clear idea of how DataCore's storage virtualization software can really help your business, by providing better ROI, faster application performance, continuous availability for your business, and giving you that competitive edge. But in case you're still questioning, why should you use DataCore, the answer is very simple too. In addition to the value proposition we just discussed, we're a global leader in storage virtualization with nearly 10,000 customers worldwide, and that consists of small, mid-sized, and even enterprise-level businesses. Also, why you should consider DataCore is because we have an ecosystem of 400 partners worldwide at your disposition. Because even our flagship product it's our proven virtualization platform that it's on its 9th generation. So it's a proven software out there in the field. And finally, because we really are poised to be the fastest growing storage virtualization company. And with that, I would like to wrap up this presentation by talking a little bit about the next steps. If you're interested in learning more about, how we can help you take advantage of your current storage infrastructure, I really encourage you, to give us a call and get in touch with one of our sales professionals, either get more information or even schedule an on-site meeting. Also, I really encourage you to rethink your virtualization strategy. Just make sure it's really comprehensive. And at the same time, you can also request an assessment. And again, we have our sales professionals, sales engineers that are at your disposition to sit down with you, understand your needs, build a plan together, and even provide a live demonstration of the product. So with that, we really look forward to transforming your business with you and help your organization stay competitive and well-positioned for the future. Now let's open it up for questions, and please enter your questions via the tool panel, and I'll give you, a couple of seconds here to see what to enter your questions. In the meantime, let me check what kind of questions do we have for the audience. Okay, there's a question here, and it states, how is the product license and are the HA and tiering standard features in the product? So that's a really good question. Our software is really licensed based on capacity. So depending on your needs, the product license will come with a specific amount of capacity. And this license just basically controls, how much physical disk space can be virtualized across a group of DataCore nodes. But the cool thing too is you also have the option to purchase more capacity as your storage needs grow. So in this case, we'll give you that flexibility. In terms of, regarding the question about the features, the auto tuning and the high availability features, we offer different types of package bundles. And again, depending on your needs, you can buy a bundle that already includes features like, the synchronous mirroring that we talked about, the high-speed caching, the auto tuning, and many others. But I guess something that's really important I'd like to mention too is that we also give you that flexibility to create your own bundle based on the features that you really need. For example, like our entry-level bundle includes like the caching, the synchronous mirroring as standard features, but not necessarily the auto tuning one. However, you can add the auto tuning one or auto tuning feature as an option to that bundle. So again, you can either choose the bundle that you need based on your requirements, or you can create or customize your own bundle a la carte. Okay, there's a second question here, and it states, can I get a copy of the slides presented today? We can definitely make the set available to you, and we're also going to be publishing an archive or a recording of this webinar. Okay, there's one question here regarding the connections. So I think what they mean is, like what type of connection protocols are supported by the software, and the answer basically is like, our software supports fiber channel and isostatic connections, and additionally, it can support both fiber channel and isostatic simultaneously as part of a mixed protocol environment. So we definitely support like mixed environments. Okay, we really ran out of time. We're already past 5 minutes. So I really would like to thank you again for attending our webinar. Thanks for asking the questions and for attending. And hopefully we'll see you soon in our next webinar. And as I mentioned earlier, we'll be posting a recording of this webinar in case you want to use it as a reference or forward it to some of your colleagues. Thanks again, and have a great day.